Hey, what is up everyone? Hope you're all having a wonderful time. So here we have the Herald of Thunder Autobomber Elementalist. And I've been using this build to farm breaches and sanctums mostly, and it's been going very well. You will have a ton of damage with this build. We're currently at around 10 million, and we also have the chain explosions that will just destroy whole packs of enemies in no time. One very important note with this build though is that this is a glass cannon build, and you will have some layers of defense, but overall you will die plenty of times. But damn, it feels so nice just having to run around and see everything dies around you. You could start with this as a semi-budget as well. Around 3 divines was what I was starting this build with, and I'm currently around 25 divines as of now of this recording. We currently made this character curse immune, normal and corrupted bleed immune, and also we have poison immunity and also all elemental elements immunity as well. Before we go over more of the build, just a quick reminder to like and comment on the video, and also subscribe to the channel to show support. So how does this build work? Well, first of all, we're using Herald of Thunder as our main ability. And whenever we kill a shocked enemy, it will activate an effect where lightning bolts strikes nearby enemies for a duration. And to bypass, so we don't have to kill the enemy for it to proc, we are using Storm Secret, which is a unique ring, which will make it so we only have to shock the target for the skill to start shooting out the beams of lightning. And we also get 100% shock chance by being the Elementalist from the Ascendancy, so we don't have to worry about that. The rings make it so we take lightning damage when the Herald skill hits an enemy, so to make it so we don't die from it, we need to have quite a bit of sustain from both life and energy shield, but no worries, we do get this from multiple sources. So that's the basic of how this build is working. Other than that, we only have to run around pretty much, and the Herald of Thunder will do the rest. And for the gear, we have quite a bit of unique, so let's start by going over them. And the first that we have here is our weapon, and it's called Annihilating Light. And this makes it so we deal triple damage with elemental skills. Try to get as low as you can get on the reduction of elemental resist. For the rings, we're using 2 Storm Secrets, and here you want to get as much as you can on the increased frequency as you can get. And this will make it so the beams shoot faster, and this will result in just more DPS. And you can get this up to 50%, but I choose to get one with cannot be poisoned, and the other one that we have here is that we cannot get bleed, so for the quality of life, but I do lose like 500,000 DPS by doing so. And the bleed ring here is quite expensive if you want to get one with a decent roll. The next item that we are using is going to be the Impulsa Broken Heart, and this is for the explosions when we kill an enemy, and here you want to focus on getting as much increased damage if you have shocked recently. And for the rest of the gear, let's start by looking on the helm, and here you want to have the Herald of Thunder enchant with mana reservation. And I also went with increased effect of non-damage elements, so our shock gets even stronger, and also lightning damage taking as recoups life to help sustain the damage we take from the rings. For the amulets, we want to use a typical +2 with the Whisper of Doom as our anoint. And the plan here was to get Aspect of Spider here as well, but currently we do need a resist instead, so maybe once we get some more investments, we can then apply the Aspect of Spider on this one as well. For our gloves here, you want to have the implicit shocks you inflict spreads, and this will make it so we get the chain reaction when we kill an enemy. Try to get as high as you can, 15 is max. I went and I bought a base with implicit done, and I just essence spammed until we got something like this. I also got the lightning damage release as life for our sustain. You could go with lightning exposure on the gloves as well, but we are using a awakened lightning penetration here, and we do get the lightning exposure from this one. So it just seems like a waste on the gloves here for now, but if you want to, you can go with that. For the belt, we're just using a normal Stygian Vice. You will need to get Dex on some of your gear, so I just went and chose on the belt here. And you can get this by just using a Essence of Sorrow. And for the boots here, we just want to get as much avoidance being shocked, so I managed to get to 50% by having it like this. And the reason is by using a Storm Shroud Jewel, we will make it so if you have 100% to avoid shock, we will get that on other elemental elements as well. But more about that later on. For the jewels, we have quite a bit of going over here as well, so let's start by going over the unique ones, and let's continue where we left off. So here, the first one that we have is going to be Storm Shroud, and this is making us elemental element immune, and to get to 100 we have 50 on our boots, as I mentioned, and we also have an additional 50 on our jewel here as well in the belt, so this is giving us 100% to avoid shock, and this will then apply to all elemental elements. We're also using Impossible Escape with the Keystone Ghost Dance, and this makes it so we can allocate passive points around the node without being connected to the tree. And the most important one here is going to be the Mind Drinker, and this gives 2% of the mana on kill, and without it you will have a bad time running your maps. And if you are planning on making a budget build, I would highly suggest anointing this to your amulet to start with. We're also picking up Soul Thief here for the 2% recovery on energy shield on kill, and this will help us a lot with our sustain. I also had one extra point over, so here we just picked one with evil for the extra chaos resist that it provides. And the next one that we have is called Calamitous Vision, and this is giving us the Lone Messenger node here, and we also managed to get the Corrupted Blood on this one as well. But the Lone Messenger here, it do buff our health skill with quite a lot of things here, and you also gain so you cannot use any other auras while we have this. But overall, this is boosting our damage quite a bit. We're also using a timeless jewel here called Glorious Vanity with the Doriani on it, and this is giving us the Corrupted Soul from the big node here, giving us some extra energy shield from our life. And we can get some boost to damage here like Ritual of Thunder for the lightning damage and the pen, or you can get the Revelating Light for damage and life leech. But these cost quite a lot if you want to both of them, and that's why I'm only using one at the moment. The other one should be at this node right here, if you want to get both of those damage nodes. Here are the different numbers that provide both the combinations. If you are interested, you could just pause the video here, or you could go to the POB and just use the built-in timeless jewel generator for yourself. For the last unique jewels that we have on this build, we have 3 Grand Spectrums here, and these all provide the 15% increased elemental damage per Grand Spectrum, and these will all add up to each other. And by having 3 of them, we get a total of 135% increased elemental damage. For the normal jewels here, we have a 2 with a total of 70% reduction effect of curses. And this, with the minor Pantheon, we get another 30% from that, which will then make us immune to curses. And other than that, we just want to get lightning damage, some life, maybe some resist, or even attributes. And as I mentioned before, we also have one Abyss Jewel here in our belt, with a chance to avoid being shocked for the elemental element immunity. We're also using 3 large clusters here that grants increased lightning damage, and the 2 important nodes to get on these is going to be first off the Storm Drinker here for the damage penetration and also the lightning damage leech as energy shield. We're also having Prismatic Heart for all elemental resist and also increased elemental damage. I went with the cheapest option here with Disoriented Display as well, but you could go for something like Doriani's Lesson here for damage and the life leech. But other than that, try to get as much of all attributes as you can, or even dexterity works as well. For the medium clusters here, we have 5 right up now, and this is going to be focusing on increased damage while affected by a Herald. And one of the nodes that we want to have on all of our here is going to be the Empowering Envoy, and this is boosting the damage and effect of our Herald. You will need to have at least one with the self-fulfilling prophecy, and this is making it so the Herald get a base critical chance. And without this, we cannot proc the elemental overload here, for even more damage. I thought that one was enough, and on the other ones I went with Dark Messenger. 4 Herald skill have increased area of effect and also increased damage. Other than that, as I mentioned before, try to get all attributes, try to focus on dexterity, even resist helps out quite a bit here. For the flask here we have 1 life flask with a 50% instant recovery, and for the bleed here on the flask it doesn't help us because we're already immune, and anything else that we can get from the life flask we are immune to that as well, so we just left it as it was. The next one that we have is called Vessel of Vinctar, and this will boost our damage with quite a lot and also making us take less damage from lightning. And we also get some life leech here from the lightning damage as well, so this is a perfect flask to use for this build. Another one that we're using is called Wise Oak, and this makes it so we deal more penetration to each element, which is going to be the highest. So here it is important that we have lightning as our highest, otherwise it will not benefit for us. You could go really bananas here and you could have all elemental resist at the same value. This will then give the perk to all elements, not only the highest. This also works for the defensive perk on this flask as well, but yeah, that's pretty much impossible to achieve. We're also using a Quicksilver for movement speed with additional elemental resist, and we're also using a Silver Flask for the Onslaught, which also gives us even more movement speed. And on these two we also have the reduced charges on use to help sustain our flasks. And for the main link here we are using Herald of Thunder with a Empowered, Awakened Elemental Focus, we have Awakened Lightning Penetration, and also Awakened Added Lightning Damage with a Inspiration. And these 3 Awakened gems here are not that expensive actually, and they do provide so much to the build. The Awaken and the Lightning here give us 1+ to the Lightning skills. The Elemental Focus here also +1 to skills. And the Lightning Pen here do give us a chance of inflicting Lightning Exposure. So really nice to have, and as I mentioned, not too expensive at all actually, so do check them out. For the next here we are using a cost and damage taking setup with Hex Touch. And here we want to link it with Arc and Cracking Lance, and the 2 curses that we are using is going to be Conductivity and also Elemental Weakness. We're also using another cost on damage taking setup here with Wave of Conviction, Immortal Call, and also Cold Snap for some Frenzy Charges generation. We have Phase Run with Increased Duration and also Sigil of Power to boost our damage on bosses. We're also using Stormbrand here, and this is going to be so we can start to proc the Herald of Thunder. We also have Arctic Armor as an additional defensive layer here. We have Flame Dash as our mobility skill. And we also have a portal on cost on death setup here, because we do die quite a lot. And here we have the passive tree for this build, and I will put a link to the POB if you want to check it out for yourself. But let's just go over some of the key passives in this build. So first of all, the first you will socket here for the Glorious Vanity, so we can get Corrupted Soul and all the damage perks here. Ritual of Thunder, for instance, and we can get another one over here if we get the right number on the Glorious Vanity. We grab some more life and mana over here. We have Elemental Overload, so we do even more damage. Other than that, we have a cluster setup right here. Get some life, and we have the mana here with the mana mastery of the damage taken recoup as mana. Very nice to have. Also, these 4 damage taken recoup as life do help quite a bit. We have the cluster here for Herald skill, increased mana reservation here. And we're also using the lightning here with the lightning mastery that do lightning damage with non-critical strikes is lucky. Other than that, we have another cluster right here. We have the Anoint with Whisper of Doom. And to the left we have some life with a life mastery with the base. And we're using the elemental nodes here and with the elemental mastery that do elemental damage leech as energy shield. This one, Impossible Escape, as I showed before. This is making it so we can pick these nodes right here. And Mind of Drinker is the most important one. Soul of Thief do helps quite a bit. And I just had one extra point for one with evil. And I just mentioned like this point here is going to be put right there. Once I do find a better jewel here. And yeah, last of all, we have another cluster setup right here. So as you can see, we are pretty much just going with clusters for this build, but we are a little bit all over the place. And for the Ascendancy, we are using the Elementalist, and the first one that we want to go for is going to be Shaper of Storms. And this is making it so all of our hits always shock, so we don't have to worry about that. And we also get some damage increases from this as well. The next one is going to be Mastermind of Discord for extra effect for the exposure here, even more damage. And we also have Heart of Destruction for even more damage and also Area of Effect. And the last one is going to be Bastion of Elements for the Primal Ages for some extra defensive layers. And for the bandits, you want to kill them all for the 2 extra passive points they do provide. And for the Pantheons, we are using Soul of Arikale as our major one, and the reason here is that the Degen is going to be the thing that we will die from the most, if you do not include random one-shots, so that's why we are choosing this. The flat damage taken reduction here from damage over time, and we also get some extra chaos resist from damage over time here as well, so this helps quite a bit. And we're also using Soul of Judgul as our minor, and here it is for the 30% reduced effect of curses on you, and this will make it so we get curse immunity with the other jewels that we have in our passive tree. Alright everyone, so this has been the Herald of Thunder Autobomber Elementalist. It's been a very fun build to run, and I've been using it primarily to farm breaches and also Sanctums, as I mentioned before, and it's been performing very well. The worst thing with this build is probably going to be the resist, to try to have them at your cap. Also attributes can be quite annoying, but I do feel that the resist is more annoying than the actual attributes. And you do die quite a lot as well with this, so if you want a more tankier build, this is not going to be the build for you. And the more monsters that are in your map, the better this build will just perform with the huge explosion that we get from the Impulsa. I was thinking of making a Chaos Inoculation build for this, that might help a bit with the defensive layers, not having to worry about Chaos Degen, and even thinking about Health Leech can be just a nice thing, and we just have to scale up the energy shield as well, but we all know that that's not going to be very cheap, so we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. And if you would like to see a version with that, leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also leave a comment what you think about the hot Auto Bomber. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!